The medium SUV category is an incredibly saturated segment, but it seems a lot of mainstream brands have been pretty slow on the uptake when it comes to creating hybrid versions of their best sellers. For a long time now, the main staple for customers in the market for a hybrid medium SUV has been the Toyota RAV4, which counts for 80% of all RAV4 sales. But with such high demand, we're now seeing significant wait times for that car, and as a result, quite a few brands are coming forward with some pretty compelling alternatives. And Kia have finally arrived with a hybrid version of their Sportage, which comes in two variants, the SX and the GT line, which I'm driving today. But what I'm wondering, is this car going to be a good enough alternative to become the next big name in hybrid medium SUVs? Let's find out. The GT Line Hybrid is a front-wheel drive that starts at $55,420 before on-road costs, which makes it officially the most expensive Sportage in Australia. It costs $5,550 more than the petrol GT Line, and notably $4,010 more expensive than the RAV4 Hybrid Cruiser two-wheel drive. Kia is launching the hybrid model conservatively, hoping to sell about 300 units each month, which is about 20% of all Sportage sales. Given Toyota's RAV4 Hybrid accounts for about 80% of RAV4 sales, I suspect demand for the Sportage Hybrid may outweigh this monthly goal. The GT Line model also comes with keyless entry, push-button start, a leather-appointed seat trim and steering wheel, heated and ventilated front seats, a panoramic sunroof, dual-zone climate control, 8-way power adjustable driver and passenger seats, and 2-way lumbar support. After a long spell of the RAV4 dominating the options for a hybrid midsize SUV in market, there's now some tall competition. The Honda CR-V and Nissan X-Trail are both similarly priced to the Sportage and the RAV4. Meanwhile, the GWM Haval H6 is an excellent alternative if you're looking for a top spec under 50k. Worth noting too that Kia's parent brand Hyundai has its own mid-size hybrid SUV alternative coming out later this year with the launch of the Tucson Hybrid. Up in the front here, you can definitely see there's a nice sense of premium quality. I've got a good amount of space around me in the driver's seat, and the passenger has a good amount of space as well. And there's a nice mix of different materials. You can see you've got this nice wood effect here. However, central console all covered in this piano black. Now it looks really sleek, but considering this is a family car, I think you've got to think this is going to show up every single fingerprint, every single scratch from a car key. So I think it will face a fair bit of wear and tear over the years. So around the central console here, you've got this rather neat looking rotary dial to change your gears. You've got a different drive mode button, and you've got a few tangible buttons here that adjust your seats, whether you want them heated or cooled, and also a heated steering wheel button as well. You've got a couple of cup holders here, some storage space around them, and then just here you can open to reveal a tray with a wireless phone charger and a couple of USB ports as well. And then finally, you've got a little storage bin here. Now, one gripe I have to admit I have in Kias is that even in my ideal driving position, I'm finding the touch screens just a little bit too far away to reach comfortably. It's the same in this car as well. But they are big screens. You've got a 12.3-inch infotainment system here, and that's connected to the 12.3-inch driver information display as well. And both, as you can see, have really clear graphics, high res, and they're very easy to use. The infotainment system has a multimedia system and a sat-nav built in, and they're very functional, not too many pages to scroll through to get to the page you want to get to. The car does support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but both require wired connections, which feels a little outdated, especially in the highest spec model. But you do have a USB-A and USB-C port, so at least it supports older phones. Other luxury features you'll only find in the GT line are the 8-speaker Harman Kardon sound system and ambient LED lighting around the cabin. So not everything needs to be controlled through the infotainment system here. You have got this little panel of buttons below you here, which allows you to control either the dual zone air conditioning or the media. You can see you've also got this physical volume dial here as well. And then if you want to control either the temperature or the media, all you have to do is press this little button here, which takes you between the two, which is useful, keeps it compact. Final details up the front then. As you can imagine, in the GT line, you've got these leather and suede look material here, which is nice and comfortable for longer journeys. And they're also bolstered, which is helpful when you're going on a pretty long run. And of course, as I've mentioned, they can be either heated or ventilated. And then the final luxurious touch is the panoramic sunroof. I quite often find in an SUV that the second row feels like a bit of an afterthought, but in this Sportage, it doesn't. Everything feels pretty thoughtful. I'm 171 centimetres, and you can see I've got a fair amount of legroom in front of me. I've also got enough headroom, although if I was any taller, yeah, it would probably be a bit of a squeeze. And bear in mind that's partly because we've got this sunroof in the GT line. Now, in terms of the seats, they're pretty firm. And you've got an almost flat floor, but I think probably it would be a bit of a squeeze to get a third adult in here. Now, in terms of amenities, you've not got a particularly big door bin. It would be a bit of a struggle to get a drinks bottle in there, but in the middle seat, you have got 2 cup holders. You've also got directional air vents, and you've got a couple of USB ports in the side of the chairs here, and little bag holders as well behind the front seats, which is quite helpful.
The doors open extra wide, which is useful when you're getting small kids and babies in and out of the car, and there are ISOFIX points in the rear outer seats and top tether points for all 3 back seats as well. You've got yourself 586 litres of boot space when the second row is up, or 1,872 litres when it's folded. In real-world terms, that means a pram, the weekly shop, and a gym bag.
However, if you do want to get yourself some extra space, then you can just lift this panel here, lay it flat so that you've got yourself even more space. That space is just about on par with competitors like the RAV4 or the Nissan X-Trail. Then you've also got a retractable cargo blind, an electric tailgate, and a space saver spare wheel, which I'm pretty happy about because you will see that quite often a few hybrids and EVs just come with a tyre repair kit. Now, unlike a lot of other brands who have gone for a slightly more futuristic look with their EV and hybrid lineup, Kia has pretty much stuck to the status quo here and kept the hybrid Sportage looking a lot like its petrol counterpart. Now, I, for one, think that that's actually a very good idea because this design is much more likely to stand the test of time, unlike some other car designs. But what do you think? Would you like to see a slightly more edgy design from the hybrid Sportage? Let us know in the comments below. You've got the Sportage's signature black grille. You've also got fully LED headlights, daytime running lights and tail lights. And you can't really see it against this gunmetal grey colour, but you have also got some black cladding around the wheels here, which is a trademark of SUVs. In fact, the only way you can really tell that the car is a hybrid model is this teeny tiny badge here and the futuristic noise the car produces. Let's take it for a drive.
Both specs of the Sportage Hybrid are powered by a 132 kilowatt, 265 newton metre, 1.6 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine, matched with a 44 kilowatt, 264 newton metre electric motor, a 1.49 kilowatt hour lithium-ion polymer battery and 6-speed automatic transmission. That makes the combined power output 169 kilowatts and 350 newton meters, which matches Kia's large hybrid SUV, the Sorento. Towing capacity is between 750 kilograms and 1,650 kilograms.
This Sportage comes with a 1.6 litre engine teamed with a hybrid, and that's in both specs, both the SX and the GT line here. Now, that is a little bit smaller than what you would get in the highest spec Toyota RAV4. Personally, that doesn't bother me, but I can understand that some customers might want a little bit more power behind them. Now, it is a turbocharged engine though, so when you stick the car into sports mode and head down the highway, you do get quite a lot of zing behind you. So for those of you that are less technically inclined, this Sportage is a closed loop hybrid. That means you don't have to charge anything by plugging it in. Instead, the battery is charged by the petrol engine.
It also gets a top up by harvesting energy captured under deceleration and braking.
And that is the draw card of this variant. You should be seeing an overall lower fuel consumption. Now, Kia claims an overall fuel consumption of 4.9 litres per 100 kilometres. Now, during my week in the car, I've had a slightly higher reading of 6 litres, but that's about on par with what we've seen with the hybrid Toyota RAV4, for example. Now, because this is a medium-sized SUV, as you can imagine, it handles best when it's just pottering around the suburbs. It's not a particularly dynamic drive, but I personally don't think it needs to be. And it does transition smoothly between the hybrid and the petrol engine, although once it is driving in petrol, I'm finding it just a little bit more gruff than I would want it to be. Visibility is really good. I've got this huge windscreen in front of me. It's good out of the rear as well, but also bear in mind there's plenty of safety technology in this car to aid me around any blind spots, for example. Suspension is solid. I'm not feeling too many lumps or bumps beneath me, but aside from that, which makes it a really comfortable ride, I am extra cosseted by these bolstered seats as well. As you can probably hear, the cabin is nice and quiet. I'm not really getting any road noise or wind noise coming through. However, like I mentioned earlier, you can hear that petrol engine, which is kind of ruining my sense of zen in the car.
The Kia Sportage GT line comes with front and rear parking sensors, autonomous emergency braking, lane keep assist, lane centering assist, adaptive cruise control, rear cross traffic alert, traffic sign recognition, a 360-degree camera with rear view visibility and moving guidelines, and blind spot view monitor.
Unlike some of the other new Kias that I've driven recently, the safety technology in this car hasn't been too intrusive at all. It's only ever been very helpful, as you would hope for. For example, lane keeping assist, blind spot technology, and speed sign recognition when I'm going through a school zone, for example. And then, of course, there is the 360-degree camera, which is excellent, especially when I'm trying to find a tight parking spot. Kia has played it safe here by creating a hybrid Sportage that isn't a world away from its petrol sibling, but if the recipe works, why mess with it? It's a practical car that suits the suburbs, but still has a bit of a kick to it when you stick it into sport mode and take it down the highway. I do think it's unfortunate that Kia has been so conservative with its monthly allocation, as I think it will prove to be a really popular car, but some prospective customers might be put off by what I foresee being some long wait times. I'd also like to see another variant between the SX and the GT line here, because there is a big price disparity. And given they have the same engine size and the same power output, I'm hard pressed to see what would make you spend that extra 10k on the GT line unless you're hellbent on having a panoramic sunroof and some extra luxury details. All in all, given the practicality of the car, Kia's relatively efficient ownership costs, such as their 7-year warranty, for example, and the brand's reputation for reliability, yes, I think the hybrid Sportage will give the reigning bestseller, the Toyota RAV4, a little bit of a run for its money in this hybrid medium SUV segment.